Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hello, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 5, Favor the Bold. Well, although I think it should be Favors the Bold, personally. As Rom faces execution and the minefield is close to being removed, the Federation launch a last-ditch effort to retake Deep Space Nine before the Dominion fleet enters the Alpha Quadrant.
I was so excited to hear Cisco say we're going to retake DS9.
Well, that's good because that was right at the start and the tension didn't really let up for the entire episode.
No, it's all build-up. We get no release. Although Odo got plenty of release.
Yes, he committed sexual congress with the female changeling.
A 3-day lay in the hay.
And that's solid style and liquid style. Not even 3 days, because it was 3 days when he noticed, and then she was like, come on. This party's just starting.
That made me feel weird, knowing Odo has used the past 3 days to get off.
Well, there's more to it than just sexual release.
Yeah, there's self-discovery and identity and stuff like that, but still.
I believe I read they didn't intend the linking to be so overtly sexual, but everyone who watched the show just said, yep, that's basically changeling sex. So they were kind of like, yeah, okay, fair enough, whatever. I think Kira is everyone's favorite character now after this episode.
How great is that scene where she beats up Damar?
Oh, she's so vicious. A lot of the fight scenes in Star Trek are kind of hokey, where someone's punching a Klingon or something and you think, oh, come on. But no, she wailed on that guy. He collapsed unconscious. And it looked like the reasonable outcome of that beating. And he turns up later all bruised and the cat's just annoyed at him.
Damar has had that a long time coming, so that was satisfying.
He is arrogant. Possibly the most arrogant character on the show, which is saying something considering the founders are pretty up themselves.
Which makes his reveals to Quark kind of sad, because he doesn't have anyone to talk to. He has no friends. He has no outlet. He wants a pat on the back and no one will give it to him, so he tells Quark these things.
He likes to frequent the bar.
And drink some Kanar.
Stop that.
Oh, I love that Morn became an asset in this episode and that they used him for good.
Well, he talks so much, you can't get him to shut up. It's about time they started using him for things other than just being an extra in the background.
His status as running joke is fine. I like it. But I like this a lot, that they were able to make him have more of an important role, just a tiny bit for once.
Every dog has his day. Speaking of people going above and beyond, Rom was a really decent guy in this episode.
He's pretty great, saying, nope, this is my fate, but you have to finish what I started. That's awesome.
It means so much more coming from him. Or, I mean, just from any Ferengi it would be meaningful, but especially Rom, who's always been a joke and a fool.
He can still play that part brilliantly, where he's the fool. Comedy with Rom has been pretty solid, but he's been elevated and he's an actual character now, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
His character is amazingly subtle, and it has been from the very start. Okay, he's a fool and secretly also a sort of genius. It's not that. I mean, that's all part of his sort of goofy character. But just his ability to stand up to Quark, just in the very slightest of ways.
When it really counts.
Yeah, he's always had it. He's always had the right stuff when it has counted. And he's been really consistent with that. He's not had a shift like some of the other characters have.
Well, the writers could have had a shift when it comes to Rom. He wasn't featured so heavily early on, but then we started seeing more and more of him, and they fleshed him out. But who's to know or say whether that was the plan all along? It works out, so it doesn't matter. But they could have simply thought of him as just a fool, but I'm glad they didn't.
It's actually in season 1. He already demonstrates mechanical abilities. It's
Whoops.
very subtle. Yeah, maybe his sort of inner bravery was added on later, but it was added on well if it was. And if you want to know what he did in season 1, he programmed the drone to assassinate Quark when Quark was acting as Nagus. And it missed.
I don't remember that, but I'll trust you.
It's good that you don't remember. It's sad to see that Rom really got put to the wayside towards the end of this episode, because the start of the episode is all about Rom. Kira's trying to think of a way to get him free. But when the situation with the minefield becomes apparent, they kind of just forget about him.
They don't have time to worry about him. He's stuck in a cell and things are moving quickly.
Well, true. Plus, if the fleet comes through, I don't think springing him from the cell will help much.
You're free, now enjoy life for a very brief time.
It might last longer in the cell. Odo remembered how Nazi the founders are.
He did?
He kind of did, when she says we're going to have to break them of their freedom. And he was like, what? He rushed to find Kira, who was having none of that.
He took pity on solids as he gazed on them in the promenade.
In a way, what he's been doing mirrors what Kira's been doing, because Kira was getting comfortable with the Dominion and even getting complacent with Ducat. So as she faced up to literally Hitler, the Cardassian, at the same time Odo was getting brain wiped by the female changeling a little bit, and now he's sort of maybe realizing the Hitlerness of those guys.
I still don't see him ready to disassociate with changelings in the Great Link. Not yet, anyway.
I think it's more complicated, but I think he kind of remembered that all his friends are going to be killed. I'm not even sure what he could do to help at this point.
Well, the one instance he could have really helped, he completely bungled. You had one job, Odo.
They could try that again.
Same plan, break out Rom.
No, well, don't use Rom, just someone else, I don't know.
Round 2.
I'm sure they won't have put additional security there or anything.
I would love it if they broke out Rom and tried the same exact plan. And then Odo messed up again. Ah, geez, I'll get it the third time.
Well, that would be fine. I don't think Rom's situation can really worsen. How are they going to execute him twice?
Execute him even harder. Well, the Vorta have cloning technology. Well, I don't know how widely available that is in this universe, but we know the Vorta could do it. They could clone them and then execute both ROMs.
Cloning seems fairly common. They've run into it enough times that it's odd it's not all over the place. There was a season 1 episode, A Man Alone, where the guy kills his own clone in the holodeck. Anyway, I don't think they're going to clone Rom to execute both the ROMs. That would be excessive, even for the Dominion.
We learn a strange thing about the Vorta, that they have poor eyesight.
Yeah, weak eyes, good ears. That makes sense to me. Looks can be deceiving, but overhearing stuff is really handy.
Well, I say strange because they have these glowing, piercingly blue eyes. That doesn't mean that you would have good vision, but it draws your attention to their eyes, and so I thought I was leaning more towards enhanced vision. I wouldn't have guessed they have poor eyesight.
Well, he couldn't see the flashes of light out the window, so he must have fairly bad eyesight. But the piercing blue eyes are a nice touch. It's quite a sort of cutting look for a diplomat.
It's intense.
Yeah, it kind of makes it hard to see what he's thinking.
Are you saying you get lost in Wei Yun's eyes?
They are like the purest Mediterranean oceans. They're so dreamy. I don't think you need good ears to overhear people. I don't know why they always do this in TV shows, not just Star Trek, but everything. When two people want to have a private conversation, they step 3 meters away, and there's no one else in the room, just one other person, and somehow that person doesn't hear anything.
It would have been better if he left the room and then came in and still heard them, and then that would give me a better indication of how good his hearing is. I'm not impressed that Wei Yun can hear a stage whisper.
Well, maybe when he said good ears, he just meant oh,
he uses them well.
normal compared to other creatures. Like not exceptional, just standard.
Because the standard of hearing is so low, having what we consider normal hearing is good.
Oh, maybe. That would explain why everyone steps 2 meters away to have a secret conversation.
The constant hum of DS9 has damaged everyone's ears irreparably.
I can't hear anything underneath 200 hertz.
They're actually all shouting. They have to lower the volume so we aren't distracted by the noise.
Well, that explains why Cisco talks like he does.
Yeah, he
A
does kind of
stifled
seem
shout.
like he's shouting all the time.
Well, he has a lot of rage at the moment. It's understandable. He's worked up.
He's so backed up on rage.
He's going to get his chance to murder people, I would think.
He has plenty of people to murder. They're outnumbered.
Yeah. So, I think the next episode might be the last one. Federation gets wiped, that's it.
The remaining episodes are the infinite blackness of space.
There's still Terek Nor and Bajor and stuff. Speaking of Bajor, Cisco went on this little rant about how amazingly beautiful it is.
He wants to build a house there.
Well, that's reasonable. But he was talking about these lush green valleys with pools and stuff. We've never seen that. We're 6 seasons in. We didn't know that Bajor was that beautiful. It seemed okay, I guess. We've seen some little gardeny bits that were nice, but none of this Eden-like beauty of which he speaks.
He could have really low standards.
Maybe he hasn't actually been to those places, just someone told him.
He read about them.
Because he's such a Bajor fanboy. He's like, yeah, they're so good. His little rant made me care a little bit about Bajor.
Why?
Well, because if it's a place of great natural beauty, that's nice. I didn't care before because it was just farmers and monks. Not that I don't care about farmers, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch Star Trek to hear about farmers.
Maybe Cisco secretly works for the Bajoran tourism department. He's trying to sell land there.
He's a religious icon. They don't usually get day jobs. That would be good though if he pulled out a brochure and said, "No, look, really, Bajor is very beautiful. There's hotels in many cities and plenty for the family to do."
You could go hiking, kayaking, all sorts of things.
I'll just leave a stack of these brochures here so that you can distribute them.
You could conveniently do all of this in a holosuite, but why would you do that? You should go to Bajor. So Nog is an ensign now.
Wartime is the best time to get promoted. People fly up the ranks during a war.
I have no reference for how that promotion is supposed to go. Is this an accelerated timeline? I'm guessing it is because of Nog's reaction, but I have no idea when you go from cadet to ensign.
Normally you'd have to do a while as a cadet, then go back to the academy or something, graduate. But seeing as they're in the middle of a huge war, they say, forget about that. You've had 10 times the field experience most ensigns get, so you're an ensign.
Got it.
Seriously, war is a great time to get promoted because the entire military front will expand hugely and there's tons of power vacuums, so people just get sucked up the ranks. Plus, then a lot of people die, so there's more promotions and stuff.
Even more opportunities.
Yes, and opportunity plus knowledge equals promotion. So I guess this means he's a full Starfleet type guy with the matching uniforms, so he doesn't look like a fool.
Oh, he didn't look like a fool.
Well, he did a bit. Cadet uniforms are supposed to be demeaning.
We have to make sure these cadets know their place.
It's not as bad as Wesley Crusher's rainbow uniform.
Oof. I haven't watched Next Gen, but even I'm aware of that thing.
I didn't know it was so notorious, but yeah, that's the biggest piece of evidence that Next Gen started airing in the late 80s.
Oh, I love seeing that stuff where it's clearly a product of its time. Like those shoulder pads Kira used to have, which I'm so glad are gone.
I never really noticed those. Speaking of products of the time, the computer effects in this are very good. I think all the space scenes are, at this point, CGI. Actually, I think the last scene with models was the very first scene of this season. So all the space battles, which we will presumably see very soon, are CGI. But that's fine. I mean, it looks good.
They don't overuse it, and it's serviceable. It doesn't distract us. Yeah, it's good.
Well, they came from doing it all with models, so I think they know how to do it well. CGI just let them do it easier, which is good. But it doesn't look dated, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Babylon 5 has plenty of good space stuff, but it's really dated looking. It doesn't really detract from the show, but it sticks out a bit.
It's nice because I I doubt that was even a concern at the time. Oh, we better make sure this looks good in 20 years. So I'm glad it's actually aged well.
This show is aged kind of spectacularly, considering a lot of the plot lines are to do with terrorism as well. Good one, people who made it.
Yes, good one.
Speaking of good ones, do you have a good quote from the show to inspire the troops?
Oh, I don't know how well this will do for the troops, but I always hope for the best. Experience, unfortunately, has taught me to expect the worst.
When Garrick said that, I kind of wanted O'Brien to say, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I've had some really terrible experiences.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I've had disproportionate bad experiences to the rest of you.
Garrick wasn't even being that miserable. He was just being a little bit realistic. Oh, well, maybe they didn't need a reality sandwich.
Right before heading in. Quick question. Were episodes where O'Brien has bad days, were those in Next Gen, or was that a Deep Space Nine thing?
It's a Deep Space Nine thing. We should find out what experiences Garrick will have in the next episode, because I think there's going to be a fair few explosions.
At least one.
So we should get on that. Stop talking about this one. It's a good episode, but there's more. The fight is still going on.
Let's finish the fight.
You know I'm going to cut Halo music in here, right?
Oh, that's totally what I'm referencing.
Yeah, I know, but it wouldn't be a proper reference without cutting in Halo music. So I'm going to do that.